Ladies and gentlemen, the captain here. If you enjoyed my content, do me a favor. Like the video, comment on the video, share the video, and of course, hit that subscribe to the channel. I appreciate the love and support. Until next time, I'm gone.
And now I'm back. Good evening, good evening, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Captain's Quarters Show, episode 24, hosted by yours truly, L. Milliner, the captain. Appreciate y'all for being here. Tonight's show was scheduled to have a guest, Alabama State Representative Jeremy Gray, who's running for the second congressional district, all right, representing the state of Alabama, U.S. House of Representatives. Um, he was going to be on to discuss his current position, all right, as well as his campaign for that second congressional seat. But I just got a message here shortly ago, saying that we'll have to reschedule. All right, so um, highly unfortunate. I was looking forward to the conversation, but I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and have my show, and there's plenty to talk about. So, with that said, once again, thank you all for joining the show, being a part of it. Be sure to, if you're not watching on YouTube, go over to YouTube from Left to Right USA, hit that subscribe. On the road to my first 1,000 subscribers. Think I'm at like 820 something, 826 or so, something like that. Also go over to Facebook, the Captain's Quarters Show. Hit that like, follow the page. That's where I put all of my content. All right. So everything I put on YouTube goes to Facebook, the Captain's Quarters Show. Also, if you like to, go to From Left to Right USA on Facebook and join that group. On there, it's not only just my content, there's also content from other creators, radio personalities and people that put their own content on that page, as well as people share their opinions on different hot topics and news stories or whatever's going on. People discuss it over there. So if you want to be a part of that conversation, go to From Left to Right USA on Facebook and join the group. Yeah, appreciate y'all for any of that. All right, any of that is fine, but I try to spread out my content and give people different avenues to be a part of what's going on, right? To be in the know, to have information for you know political issues or social issues or whatever we're facing. I want you all to be informed, all right, and also be encouraged at the same time. Be encouraged because there's a lot of craziness going on, but there's always hope, right? If you're not, in Christ, just know in Christ there is hope all the time. Doesn't matter how bleak things look or how they seem, there is hope. Okay, and so don't let this world beat you down and just destroy you because there is a silver lining. Uh there is a light at the end of the tunnel. All right. Let's see. Now, aside from my guest, all right, and hopefully we'll be able to get that rescheduled. All right. I do want to go ahead and say next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. I have another guest scheduled, and that guest is Cedric Coley. Now, Cedric Coley was on the show, man, about 3 months ago, I guess 3 4 months. I don't know. It's been a while, maybe longer than that. He was on the show. Matter of fact, it was it was a while back because it was in the summertime. I want to say last year. So yeah, it's been a while, man. Time goes by so fast. That's crazy. It's been that long, but he was on the show with me. So you know, man, really, really upbeat, positive young man. He has, a lot of great ideas. And he's running for County Commission. All right. So if you're in Montgomery County, vote Cedric Coley for county commission. All right. Great ideas, conservative guy, common sense guy, a guy that's, has a business mind and a heart for people, right? To better this county. All right. So he'll be back on the show to discuss his campaign, among other things, next Thursday. All right. I don't know what's the date for next Thursday. So the 29th. So February 29th, 8 p.m. Cedric Coley, who's running for county commission, will be on the show. Now you pretty much locked that one in, right? But man, let's get to a big topic. All right. So a lot of people who may see this video who are not from Alabama may not even know anything about what I'm about to talk about. They really may not have any idea what I'm talking about. But a few years back, there was a situation where a Montgomery police officer shot and killed a man by the name of Greg Gunn. All right. And that individual, Greg Gunn, happened to be, a black guy. So the officer was white. The guy who got killed was black. Now, there was no video attached to the story, right? So we didn't see a visual of what happened. Now, according to the story of what I heard about it, the body worn camera was never turned on. Therefore, we don't have any visual of what happened, right? We don't have any visual, any audio, anything. All we have is basically the evidence that was left at the scene, or based on maybe radio correspondence. That's all we have, the physical evidence of what happened and the radio correspondence between that officer and the department, and maybe the dispatch, and maybe other people who called 911 to report gunshots or whatnot. So basically, this was a huge story locally. All right. Of course, there was a lot of outrage associated with that case, because when it happened, man, I gotta look up and see what year it was. I've got to see what year this was. Was it 2016? I think it was 2016. It's been a while. It's been a while back. It's been a while back. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. It was, man, wow. We're almost at the 8-year anniversary of the incident. So the incident happened February 25th of 2016. So we're almost at the 8-year anniversary of that. So anyway, let me share what I'm looking at right here in this article, so you guys can see what I'm looking at. It's from AL.com. Don't fault me for using AL.com. I know they're super liberal, whatever, but they love stories like this. Like AL.com loves anything racial, they're gonna push it, right? But anyway, so here it is. So there it is right there. I was gonna get to it, but here it is. All right. So the cop that killed Greg Gunn, he was convicted. He was serving prison time. He has been released. All right, as of, I want to say, like yesterday. So of course, if you go on social media right now, go on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, anybody that knows about this case, most people are talking about this as being a sad day. It's terrible. Once again, the system, this white supremacy system has, let another white supremacist get off on killing a black man, right? He hunted that black man down in that alley and shot him 18 times. No, I mean, I don't think he shot him that many times, and I don't think they were in an alley either. um, what happened? What did happen? See, I do a lot of I cover a lot of cases like this. All right. When it came to Kyle Rittenhouse, I was, one of the main people. Like I didn't see anybody else really talking about it locally where I am. I was on top of that. I saw all the videos that were available at the time. I broke it down. I spoke about it. I said, hey, he never should have went to trial, this and that. But just saying that to say, I covered that. I covered uh Ahmaud Arbery. I think that's his name in Georgia. I covered that. The guy in Atlanta at the Wendy's drive-through that tried to tase the officer, took the officer's taser, tried to tase the officer with it, and got shot and killed. I covered that as well. I covered Sequoia Turner when that little 8, 9-year-old girl got gunned down by BLM rioters in Atlanta. I covered that. So I cover these type of incidents, right? Whether it be with police, whether it be more racial, quote unquote racial incidents. And but with this case, I didn't cover this case. I didn't talk about it because I don't know a lot about what happened. We don't have any video. We don't have any audio. We only go off of what is given to us, right, by those in charge of the case. And so I didn't delve much into it, to just to be honest. And when I do talk about different cases like this where you have an officer that kills somebody, I like to have the evidence, the information to even talk about it, to talk about it honestly, because I don't just give my opinion about this stuff. I say what I say based on the evidence that's put before me. But in this case, I didn't have the evidence, and I didn't. It was to me, it just seemed really murky and muddy, right? It just I feel like I'm not gonna get the truth out of the situation. So I left it alone. I didn't even talk about it. All right. Um, but in this article, in this article, let's see here. Basically, man, I want to get to the beginning of this. Where's the beginning of this? Um, da, 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 da. I see William Boyd is all over this. Yeah, William Boyd is one. He's a very pro, black guy. So he, of course, is talking about it. Um, man, I wanna find out. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This is it. So right here it says 5 bullets hit Gregory Gunn, who died near his family home. The DA, they charged AC Smith, the officer, right? And he got convicted of manslaughter in 2019 and was sentenced to 14 years in prison. The Alabama Supreme Court rejected his appeal in 2022. Afterward, he continued to appeal his case, starting with a Rule 32 hearing. I have no idea what Rule 32 is, but anyway, Montgomery County DA Daryl Bailey said in a statement reported by AL.com that he was very disappointed in AC Smith being released early, which is a privilege not afforded to most convicted killers. All right. So not to I'm not saying that DA Daryl Bailey is lying or anything like that when he says that, that's not afforded to most convicted killers. But I will say many, many, many convicted killers get off very lightly, and many of them get off almost scot-free. Like, I mean, there was really, if I, I got it's my show. I can do it. I'm going to, after I get done with this, I'm going to go and find cases where people have done heinous crimes, killed people, all type of things, and they get out of jail, go do the same thing to somebody else. Get out of jail, go do the same thing. Like, there's cases, like recent cases like this here in Montgomery, Alabama. All right, it's not even just the state of Alabama. This is just in Montgomery alone. So when he says that, it's like, it sounds good to say that, but there's a lot of people that get off. Either they get off or they get a very light sentence, and they go out there and do it over and over again, because judges like Greg Griffin, right, gives you a light sentence. He'll give you 3 years for killing somebody. He'll give you 3 years for if a man goes and rapes a woman, which it actually happened. A guy went to a lady's home, raped her, and he gave him 3 years. The guy's either out or he'll be out very, very shortly. So, I mean, anyway, Greg Gunn was, hold on a second. Okay, I think they miswrote that. It says Gunn was incarcerated at Limestone Correctional, but it's actually the officer A.C. Smith. He was incarcerated at Limestone Correctional Facility, according to the Alabama Department of Corrections. Gunn's family had been made aware of new developments in the case a couple of weeks ago based on accounts they read in the newspaper. William Boyd said the family was brought to the Attorney General's office on February 15th and given the news. So basically what happened was the state attorney general, Steve Marshall, took over the case, and I guess he reviewed it. And so therefore AC Smith has been released upon that occurring. So basically it's a whole lot of mad folks in Montgomery, man. A lot of mad people. A lot of mad people, man. I saw somebody, that I respect, doing a live discussing this, and I had some things I said, about it. Um I just, man, it just seems to me that people people tend to people tend to get, how can I say this? When it comes to a racial crime, people tend to amplify and focus on and highlight the racial crime as if that's the norm. Like, that's the regular thing that happens, and we have to fight against that. In reality, there's a lot more of the black on black issue going on, right? Where there's black on black violence, happens all the time. So that's not highlighted. And if you bring it up, people just brush it off like, why are you talking about that? I'm talking about it because it's prevalent. It's not only statistically prevalent and just a statistic facts, but I can give you personal accounts of witnessing the very thing I'm talking about, right? I can give you other people that I know who have witnessed the very thing, whether they were a victim of it themselves. I know people that were the perpetrator, who were the aggressor, the person who committed the violent act. So it's not like I'm just talking about something that's, this idea that's out there that there's black on black crime and that's an issue. No, like, I'm not just making that up or, pulling some out of thin air. There's stats that prove this. It's a real thing. But when it comes to the police side of it, or a racial issue with, let's say the racial issue with police, a white officer and a black man, That is far and few between, right? This case right here, the A.C. Smith killing Greg Gunn case from 2016. I can't find, is there another incident like that one since then? It's been 8 years. 8 years. What other issues have there been between police where a white officer killed a black man in Montgomery? There isn't another one. That's the only one. Matter of fact, if you go before 2016, when was the last time before that this issue came up? You see what I'm saying? It's far and few between. Like there's not many examples of this, right? I think you got to go all the way back to like the early 90s or late 80s to find another case that's similar to it. I think it's with the Whitehurst case. I hear people talking about that all the time. They always bring up Whitehurst. It's Whitehurst and Gregory Gunn. Those are the two names I hear when it comes to white police killing black men in Montgomery. Two incidents. How about we look at, we had 75 homicides in 2023. Out of those 75 homicides, how many of the victims were black? Probably about 70, around 70. How many of the person, how many of the perpetrators, how many of them were black? About 70. Right? So that's just 1 year. What about in 2022? We had like 65 homicides. Same thing. Let's just say, let's lowball it. Let's say it's 50. 50 perps were black and 50 victims were black. Go back to 2021 when we broke the record for the most homicides ever in Montgomery. Same thing, right? So if we go year by year by year and go back to 2016, there have been, let's say that there's been an average of, let's lowball it, 40 homicides. From 2017 to 23, let's say we averaged 40 homicides. 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. That's 7 years. What's 40 times 7? That's 280. 280 homicides of black people killing other black people in one city. This is just in Montgomery. But we're focusing on one case of the last 8 years where one officer killed one black man. And then people want to say, well, it's an injustice because he got convicted and we feel like 14 years wasn't a lot, but at least he got convicted and he got some time. Oh, but wait, the AG came in and cut his time, so now he only served like a year and whatever, how many months. That's an injustice. Well, I can find you other cases where you got black perpetrators that kill other black people and they get out, do the same thing over and over and over again. What about that injustice? You get my point? Give me a second. I'm gonna find a recent case of what I'm talking about. I like to show and prove. All right, what do we have here? What do we have here? Let me pull this up and share this with y'all so you can see it. This is very recent. this month recent. So as y'all can read, man charged in Montgomery homicide was out on bond for attempted murder. You don't say. Now, best believe that attempted murder wasn't his first charge or whatever. Best believe he's already had other issues. It wasn't just a one-off thing, right? He didn't just get started committing crimes. So anyway, let's look at this situation. A Montgomery man who was out of jail on bond while awaiting trial for attempted murder is back in custody. Why is he back in custody? This time he's charged with 2 counts of capital murder in a different case. Raymond Gerard Kemp, 19 years old, was taken into custody on 2 capital murder charges Tuesday. 2 other suspects, unidentified, 16 and 17-year-old boys arrested in December, are also facing capital murder charges. Court documents state the victim, whom police have never identified by name. So by that, I'm assuming that the victim is under 18, right? That's probably what's going on there. It's probably a juvenile. This individual died after being shot while sitting in his vehicle. His body was found late September 20th. So this was back September 20th of 2023 in the 3200 block of Cloud Street, not far from Lower Wetumpka Road. And if you know about Lower Wetumpka Road, it's not the best area. All right. It just isn't. Stemmed from an unrelated 2020 attempted murder investigation. So that was back in 2020. He was to go on trial in that case on February the 5th, with a jury set to hear evidence that he shot a teenager multiple times, another teenager, leaving the victim paralyzed. Kemp was arrested just days after the judge in that case issued a bench warrant due to his failure to appear for the start of the trial. He shot a teenager, paralyzed him, got out on bond, and now he has 2 capital murder cases. Kemp is now being held without bond after the 2 capital murder charges in Montgomery County Detention Facility, where he faces 1 count of capital murder and 1 count of capital murder during the commission of a robbery for the 2023 case. That's the one from September. My God. I mean, see, that anybody that's been paying attention knows this is the norm. This happens a lot. This happens a lot. Individuals like this commit violent crimes against people. They get out on bond, or they get a light sentence. They plead guilty and they get a lesser charge. So rather than them having, first degree murder or capital murder or something like that, they'll plead out to a manslaughter, to a second degree murder, something like that. And if it's their first time killing somebody, they'll basically give them like 8 years. They as long as they don't go in there and kill anybody in jail, then they can get out probably like 6 years. Who knows? Maybe there's a technicality and they get let out because of some kind of technicality about their sentencing, or about, maybe there's some new evidence that was, a person recants their story or something like that. Who knows? Things like that happen all the time. That's normal things. And so, but this is a 19-year-old guy who doesn't have resources like that. So it's not like he's well-to-do where he can afford the best attorney and all that and appeal the case and all that type of stuff. This guy is 19. He's out here running around, running young and thugging. And he skate and then go kill somebody, kill two people. But AC Smith, man, it's about the police. The police are killing it. They're killing and hunting down black folks. Man, y'all sound crazy. Y'all sound crazy, making it seem like that's what's happening, and it isn't. I mean, come on. I'm wondering when people are going to. The only way for people to come out of that and realize, let's not put the energy into these one-off cases, these rare occurrences, right? These exceptions to the rule. Let's focus on bettering our communities. Like, we have active crime happening every day over here. Let's go over there and fix that, right? Because see, people don't want to even discuss the part about, you know, I wasn't there again. I didn't really speak on it, but I got the mind to understand that with every action comes a reaction, right? For every negative action, there's a consequence. Greg Gunn was out and about at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, right? Walking the street. I don't know what are you doing out at that time. I don't know. Hey, he's a grown man. I guess you can do what you want to do. But I find it very hard to believe that the officer was riding by. He noticed Greg Gunn walking, and I want to say I heard that there was a call about somebody suspicious in the area, and that's why he stopped Greg Gunn to begin with. But let's say that didn't happen. Let's say that there was no call put in to alert him about somebody being suspicious in the area. Let's just say he was just riding by, saw Greg Gunn, and said, "Hey, sir, come here. What are you out here doing tonight? It's late. Where you headed?" Let's say it happened like that. How do you go from that to Greg Gunn is running away? They go between some houses, and it gets violent where gunshots ring out, right? I find it hard to believe that the officer just pulled up and said, "Hey, Negro, what you doing? You out here real late at night, boy." I don't think that's how that happened. I don't think the officer then left his vehicle and pursued Greg Gunn and shot him in the back because he's a Negro out at nighttime. I find that's a very salacious and ridiculous idea. I mean, could it happen? It could happen, but is it likely? No, it's not likely. Likely that that's how that happened, right? That sounds very Jussie Smollett-ish, right? Or Juicy Smouye. It's like when he said, "Man, them two white guys, they were big and they was wearing MAGA hats and they was screaming white power and KKK and all this stuff and MAGA, and they was yelling all that, and they chased me into the alley and beat me up and threw Clorox on me and threw a noose around my neck and all I had was a shoestring." Like, it's salacious. It sounds ridiculous, right? But people tend to believe that type of stuff. For some reason, when it comes to police, especially the white officer, people just tend to just take it and run with it like it's the truth. It's the craziest thing. Craziest. Man. Let's see if I can find another case. Yep. I found another one. I'm telling y'all, man, this happens quite often. It's not it's not a one-off situation right here. This is pretty normal. Bond revoked for suspect in 2 Montgomery murder cases. The suspect in 2 separate Montgomery homicide cases, who was out of jail on bail, has been arrested again, according to Montgomery police. Jamie Williams, 23, prompted Montgomery County DA Darrell Bailey to seek bond revocation, which a judge has since granted. Williams was one of 2 suspects arrested Wednesday afternoon when Montgomery police officers responded to the 1600 block of South Holt Street in reference to a call of a shooting in the area. Officers found the suspect vehicle in the area of Taft Street, and the suspects were taken into custody. No injuries were reported. It's amazing how, in this situation, this guy, is committing violent acts and hurting people, right? And police are able to just take him into, custody. Why were they able to take him into custody with no issues? Because he he complied. He didn't fight and resist and try to run away and pull out a gun and start shooting or anything like that. He just, yep, y'all got me, put his hands up behind his back, whatever, laid down and let them arrest him. It's amazing how when you follow directions, how simple things can go and how you don't end up dead, right? But anyway, he's black, by the way, right? So police were able to arrest him with no issues, and he's black. Amazing. Man, let's see here. Williams is now charged with second-degree unlawful possession of marijuana. The other suspect, Kenyatta Mack, 21 years old, is charged with first-degree unlawful possession of marijuana in violation of license to carry a pistol. See, it's funny how when people talk about that whole marijuana thing, they always say like, "Oh, they got 20 years for marijuana possession." No, they didn't. They got possession of marijuana, plus they probably had an illegal weapon in the vehicle, right? And here, this guy had a violation of a license to carry. Because this was back in 2022. So back then, you had to have a license to carry a weapon, a pistol. Anyway, mm, a U.S. Marshals task force arrested Williams on December 15th, 10 days after a homicide on Vaughn Plaza Road that claimed the life of 24-year-old Alfred Smart. Williams paid a $50,000 bail and was released the day after his arrest. On January 21st, a U.S. Marshals task force arrested Williams again, at which time he was charged with felony murder and discharging a firearm into an occupied vehicle after being linked to the October 26th death of Ivory Brooks Jr., 24 years old, of Biltmore Avenue. My God, man, I swear. He had a $1.5 million bill from the October case. In addition, uh, to a $30,000 bill for discharging a firearm into an occupied vehicle charge. Now, something needs to be done about that. $30,000 bill for firing an occupied vehicle. So that's somebody sitting in their car, and this individual is shooting into the car, shooting at the car, right? Trying to hit who's inside the car. And that's a $30,000 bill. See, something needs to be done about that right there. Because a lot of that's going on where people are shooting into vehicles or homes or businesses or whatever, and they're getting these $20,000, $15,000, $30,000 bills, right? Just because you're not hitting anybody, I mean, thank God you're not hitting the person that you're trying to target, but they're getting out on, I mean, very little bail, and the charge is so light. I mean, if it's a felony, it's like the weakest felony you can get. So they don't really get any time. A lot of those guys, you should get a mandatory like 5, 7, some amount of years for just shooting into the vehicle, right? That should be that should be. I mean, there needs to be something done where there's a harsher sentence for that, because then you would deter people from being able to get free again to go actually kill somebody. Like, we have to stop doing this little light bill situation. That's the only way we're gonna fix a lot of these issues. Because I can find, I mean, case after case after case of individuals doing that very thing, shooting into occupied dwellings and cars and getting very light bail, almost no bail, and then they're back out, do it all over again. And next time they actually hit the person or people. And a lot of times there are people who aren't even involved in the situation. They were just at the wrong place, wrong time. Man. Um, but the only way we can fix this whole thing about this whole Greg Gunn situation is, like I said, people need to be more involved in fixing the community issue, like the real issue. Lack of respect for authority. Respect for themselves, respect for their family, respect for their neighbors. There's just a lack of respect across the board, and the adults, the people who are the aunts, aunties, grandmothers, grandfathers, those people should be setting the example, and should be able to speak out and say, hey, yeah, you had a situation that happened with the police, but you got to understand, you got to act the right way. You need to be in accordance of the law when you're dealing with the issue. You can't break the law to get yourself out of this situation. That's not how that works. You can't wild out and start resisting arrest and arguing, fighting, all that type of stuff, and then expect a good positive result. There, we have to we need more of that. Like, I can't be the only person that's saying this out loud. I can't be the only one, right? Because most of the people who got, you know, they're more known, they got bigger voices and whatever. They got, the people listen to what they got to say, right? Those people aren't saying this. I saw a guy who is I would say a big voice in Montgomery. This man did a whole video. He went live when the police pulled him over. So a police officer pulled him over. He goes live on his phone, got his phone, and he shows the whole interaction. And he was polite to the officer, but he challenged the officer for why he pulled him over and that type of thing, right? But he didn't get irate. He didn't, start yelling at the officer. He didn't try to speed off and leave or nothing like that, right? Therefore, he got his ticket for whatever it was he got pulled over for, and he went on about his business. Right? He survived the situation. He didn't get arrested, go to jail, anything like that. But he was trying to. He was a white officer, and he's black, so he's trying to. Make a point of, they pulled me over for no reason, but there was a reason. The officer gave him the reason why, and it's just, this guy is an older. It's not even a young guy. This is an older guy. This guy's probably in his 50s. I would say at least in his 50s. I don't know for sure, but I would guess in his 50s. And it's like, sir, you know better than to make it seem like he just pulled you over because you're black or pulled you over for no reason. He told you why he pulled you over. He issued you a ticket. You questioned him about the ticket, right? But you didn't get irate. And he explained, and then you went on your way, and he went on his way. But you wanted to make it more than what it really was. Like, that's what happens. Where there's not racism, because I mean, racism doesn't even exist anyway. But where it doesn't exist, these people try to make it exist, right? They try to make the situation into that because it wouldn't happen organically. So they have to, push and prod and try to provoke the officer into something. So then they can say, look, see, I told y'all they're racist. They're against us. He pulled me over for no reason because I'm black. He tried to push those buttons, but it didn't work. This is what happens. These old heads y'all got to do better. If y'all can't get it right, how do you expect the 30, 20, the 15-year-olds now to get it right? They're watching you wild out, act the fool, talk about the white man, racism, white supremacy. They're watching you, the people like Zach Buckner. They're watching this guy. This guy's like 70, 80 years old. I mean, come on, man. Like you like a great granddad. You probably got great grandchildren, great nephews, and all that. Talking about white supremacy, the white man, and all that stuff. These young people are watching you, and they're like, okay, if he's saying that, then yeah, okay, then I'm right. And when I'm mad at the police, when I was speeding down the Atlanta highway and I got pulled over, it's because of my rims on my car. It ain't because I was going 85 miles per hour down the Atlanta highway where the speed limit is 45. It's because my rims, man, I got that candy paint. You know what I'm saying? My music was up loud. They try to hate on me. That's what it was. It wasn't that I was in the wrong. And when I watched Zach Buckner and these other black guys, pillars of the community, when I see them talking about racism and all that, yeah, that's what happened to me. I was speeding, but it's racism. That's why they pulled me over. See, y'all doing a disservice to the young people. And then they look at me and say, well, your delivery is not right. You're saying things is just outlandish and all this type of stuff. No, man, like if you think it's outlandish, fine. All right, that's fine. But you can't dispute and refute what I'm saying. Like, and when I ask these people to like just had a conversation about it, they don't even want to do that. Cause they know they don't get mollywopped when we have this discussion. If you're gonna lean on racism and the white man is the issue and the system, I'm gonna kill that. So they don't even want to have that conversation because they know how it's gonna turn out. So it's easier to just be loud and say all this nonsense and not have anybody challenge you on it. And everybody else just, they like, okay, cool, whatever. But when I'm like, nah, they ain't right because of this, and this, and this, they don't want to have that conversation. They're like, no, I don't want to talk about that. No, like like these Karen Jones types. You know what I'm saying? They just want to push their propaganda on the people. But when you challenge them about what they're saying, they don't want to have that conversation because they don't want to look stupid. I get it. I do. I get that. But quit being stupid. You can quit being stupid. Or at least talking out loud and riling people up and talking about these issues the way y'all do. You can stop doing that. right? You can at least be stupid in your privacy of your home or whatever. You can be stupid as you want to be. But if you want to come out here and play with the big boys and have you come and talk your talk, then be able to back it up in the public. You come out here in the public, so let's have a public conversation. But these people don't want to do that. Boy. But anyway, um, boy, I I don't know that man. Oh, buddy might not even come on my show now, man. I just said all this right here. But but anyway, man, if y'all watch this on a replay, I was supposed to have a guest on tonight, Jeremy Gray, who's the Alabama State Representative for District 83. That is Lee County and Russell County in Alabama. He's also currently running for the second congressional district, all right, in Alabama. That's a U.S. House of Representatives seat, and to my knowledge, that's covered from Birmingham down south through Montgomery all the way down to Mobile, right? So it's a big portion of the state. He's running for that seat. I'm going to have him on here to discuss his current position as well as his campaign, among other things. I understand that he played college football at NC State. People that know me know I went to college up in North Carolina. And then he played professional football. So I want to talk about different things with him. And hopefully we can reschedule and get him on here very soon before the election, because election day is March the 5th, right around the corner. March the 5th is election day. Understand, before I'm gonna leave y'all with this, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. As we head to election day, be sure to do your research on these candidates. Do your research. Make sure that you know the role that they have, right? So when it says House of Representatives, understand that's Congress, right? This person that you're voting for is the person who goes and makes policies, laws, pushes, bills through, or rejects them. Like, this person is creating and passing laws, right? Understand that this person isn't just going to go and isn't supposed to just go lobby for some kind of business to come to your area, right? That's the county commission. That's what Cedric Coley will be doing, right? When we get him elected March 5th, Cedric Coley for county commission in Montgomery County. When we get him elected, he'll go and he'll be the one that's going to help bring businesses to the county, to the area, right? But when you're talking about the House of Representatives, that's lawmaking, right? When you got state house rep, which is what he is right now, currently for District 83, and you have Philip Insler, who I had on my show recently, like a few weeks ago. He represents District 74, right? That's Montgomery. He makes laws, right? That's what he does. He goes down to the state house, downtown Montgomery, Alabama, and they do their votes, right? They do the votes and they push certain laws through, certain bills through, right? They create bills. If there's something that they want to, let's say they want to fix crime, and they say, you know what? In order to fix crime, let's do something where we can make sure families are encouraged to stay together, because we know that statistically, a mother and a father raising their children will result in less crime. That child is far less likely to drop out of school or become a criminal, right? So we understand that. So let's push a bill to alleviate some financial responsibilities on the family. And let's push that through. Right? Whatever that looks like. Let's push. That's what they do. Right? Or they push through gun reform, which is something that's ridiculous. That doesn't help crime. You're just taking away gun rights of people who are not committing crimes, by and large. Right? The people who commit the crimes, they don't care about your gun law. Look at Chicago. They have some of the toughest gun laws in the country. And look at the amount of homicides and gun violence they have. The criminals don't care about your laws as it pertains to a gun law. You're only hurting people like myself who I have my guns, allegedly, and I don't use them against people, right? I don't go out and commit crimes with them. I don't rob people and harm people with it and gang banging and drug dealing. None of that stuff. Most people who are law-abiding citizens who have weapons don't do that type of stuff. So don't take their rights away, but understand who you're going to vote for and why you're voting for these people, right? You got people who are running for a circuit judge, right? Greg Griffin has to go. Circuit court judge Greg Griffin needs to be I don't know what the term is, but like debenched, taken off the bench, removed. All right. We don't need him up there because he is not going to do right by us. When these criminals go before him, he's giving them light sentences, and they're right back out here to keep harming us, harming our children. So let's make sure we understand who we're voting for, why we're voting for them, what role do they play. Okay, but do your research. Look these people up. Vet these people. Don't just listen to your mama, your daddy, grandmama, whoever's telling you vote for this person, baby, because we go to church with him and he a good man and all that stuff. Look, I mean, I'm sure he's great man, good. The Lord blesses, but he's not good enough for this role. He's not good enough for this seat right here. Right? So do your research and go and vote for the right person. Don't just vote for people because of what they look like, who they know, all that type of stuff. Right? Anyway, that's the show. I'm gonna end it right there, man. I'm almost at 1 hour exactly. Appreciate y'all for being here. Hopefully, before Thursday, hopefully I can get another show in, reschedule it with my guest for the night. But if not, I'll be back on next Thursday night, 8:00, with my guest Cedric Coley, who's running for county commission. All right. So anyway, until then, ladies and gentlemen, this was the Captain's Quarters Show. I was your host, Phil Milliner, the Captain. I am.